On the 13th of October, Venus will move into our home sign of Libra. This is an amazing transit, and I really love it because right now is a Libra season, it's cozy season, and Libra marks the start of fall. This is one of my favorite times of the year, and it's a good time for like me because I like doing the photography and all that stuff. So I really love this time of year. But what is Venus actually asking? She is asking you to slow down, be more intentional, and enjoy all the work that you've done throughout the year and get the benefits of that now and receive things. I always like to see Mars as that active, doing things, getting the job done, whereas Venus is more about like, okay, I'm ready to receive everything and enjoy and love and all that beauty of just being, not having to do anything to make things happen, just the way you are instinctively. In this video, I'm going to break down this transit and show you the things to watch out for, but also go a little bit deeper into what Venus and Libra actually means for us during this time. And I'll also break it down for the 12 rising signs too. So the first thing to really understand this transit is understanding Venus. Venus is all about that receiving energy, like I said. It's all about receiving the feeling, receiving the feelings, receiving the love, receiving them little moments, romanticizing things, feeling everything out and taking the time to be so that you can feel these things. It's not about pushing 100% forward every single time. It's about slowing down and being intentional. When that's in the sign of Libra, it does bring our relationships into focus, but like we says, whether that be a personal relationship, a romantic relationship, or a business relationship, these things are relationships, especially in business. A lot of people think of business as a transaction. It's all about the money. Venus herself loves money, so it does go hand in hand, but it is, the more you start to think about Venus with relationships and business as a relationship, you will get more from this transit. With Venus and Libra as well, beauty is another thing. Like, Venus likes to look good. Now, what does that mean to you? Does that mean that we should be all going out and getting makeovers, plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery, all these things, and doing all these things to make ourselves look like what social media portrays as beauty? No, this is about finding that beauty to you. What is beauty to you? That might be the way you look, that might be when you're out in nature, that might be when you're doing something, you're in your head making a masterpiece, imagination, bringing your creativity to life. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, as they say, and I think that that's something that is very subjective. But if you think about finding that beauty in those little moments, that's where Venus and Libra is you're going to really feel that beauty element of it. As well, I think is about when it comes to our communication and stuff like that, I think we will really, really get the benefit of Venus and Libra if we're thinking more diplomatic and more, let's not like rush in there and destroy things or like shout and bawl. Let's rush in and be a little bit more diplomatic. We're maybe going to slow down. We're maybe going to think about the things that we're going to say, that we do maybe put other people's opinions first. Now, that does have a shadow side as well, because you don't want to turn into a people pleaser during this time where you're then going on to the shadow side of Libra. Venus is all about, she loves to receive money. Yeah. I think with like Mercury is like more that transaction based money thing. Whereas Venus is more about the, this is the gift that we've received. It restores balance by us receiving for our doing and all that sort of stuff. And she's all about money in that way. She likes the nice things in life, does Venus. And I think in the sign of Libra, that might come in the sign of that might look like fashion. It might look our style. It might look like, instead of just going to the hairdressers down the road, you might go to the hairdressers in town and make a day of it and start to really romanticize the process of these things and enjoy maybe the higher priced things a little bit more, because not only does she like to receive money, she likes to spend money. And I think that that's something, because like with Venus, our material possessions come into things. Now, usually as Taurus, but with Venuses and Libra, it's probably going to be more around clothes, around beauty, around style or fashion and that sort of stuff, I would imagine. Right now, remembering that it's fall, do all the cozy things, like if that's making sure making your home a little bit more cozy, or doing the things that you maybe do once or twice a year, or like going out with friends and having them cozy vibes, going for coffee, pumpkin spice lattes and all that. Doing all this stuff around this time because it's letting you romanticize and really feel them feelings of beauty and love and all that stuff for the material stuff in your life as well. Yeah, because Venus is that material stuff, the material possessions. She rules Taurus, who rules the second house. Getting out in nature around this time, finding those little moments of beauty in your surroundings. And you don't need to go to fancy places if that's not your thing. Like simply going to the local park, going to, I don't know, going to a drive to the nature reserve or whatever it is, yeah? But going out and doing things that are outside maybe and finding those little moments of beauty. And that comes from like the peace, the serenity of being in nature. The other night I was in just reading my book and I thought, you know, one of the things that I have been doing a lot has been spending a lot of time in my head, not getting outside and not enjoying nature. I'd said that I wanted to start doing photography again and I hadn't even got out once. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to stop thinking about it and just do it and go out and be in nature. And night and day difference from the way I was feeling before to the way I was when I came back. And that is doing things like that around this time, you're going to really get the benefits of Venus and Libra. When it comes to your content with Venus and Libra, this is, again, it is about injecting your style. Yes, we say Venus is beauty. Venus is the things that look nice and look good. But that's what looks nice and looks good to you. And like, you notice I've done this video a little bit different because I wanted to inject my style into it. It's Venus and Libra after all. And I wanted to also just test because I have been, there's one thing, another thing that's been on my mind is like, how can I get more of my personality into my content when I'm just talking about transit? So I wanted to do that at the start just to like see how it went, see how it goes. And that's it. Don't be afraid to test things as well as a content creator. But this is, think of your personal style here. When you are creating content, like even the way that you show up on content, like maybe the way you dress and all that stuff, the way you do your hair, these things, you might start to think about these a little bit more, like to more think about your brand as you, as Venus moves through Libra. Now, before we get into the 12 sign readings, I just want to talk to you about a few transits that I feel are something to pay attention to while Venus is in Libra. The first being on October the 13th, when Venus in Libra is going to go opposite Neptune retrograde in Aries. This is going to be that time where your love and all that stuff is a little bit, there could be like this push and pull between what you really desire and what you are receiving at the moment. I think there could be this push and pull, like you're like, I really want to do this. I really want to go there. I really want to experience this, but I'm going to just stick with what I've got. There gives me that sort of a vibe because this is like an opposition. So it's a push and pull. And it gives me that, like, are you going after those dreams? Like Neptune in Aries is about going after those dreams, being that, or doing the spiritual things. Aries is very action orientated. Neptune is like being creative. And I think that that's where this Venus and Neptune opposition, bringing in your creativity here. And if that is like for mental health purposes, whether that be creating content or whatever it is, but spending that time being a little bit creative, being a little bit crafty, maybe baking, I don't know, but like doing the things that you really enjoy that are on the creative side. I think that that would be really, really good with Neptune opposing Venus during this time. I think also with this as well, when it comes to your relationships, this is maybe you settling in a situationship potentially, and that opposition might feel like, but you're dreaming this, you're dreaming for that unconditional love, because if Neptune's like a higher octave of Venus, so if Venus is love, then Neptune becomes that unconditional love. And I think that that's something that if you're maybe in a relationship that isn't, there is maybe a bit rocky, you might start to notice that a little bit, or you might start to feel things aren't quite right with it during this opposition. It doesn't mean that it has to end. It doesn't mean any of that, but you just may start to think, right, well, if this is for me, I want it to feel like this. And you might go after more of these feelings. And just remember, other people are going to feel this energy too. So you might find it brought back to you. So that's the first one, is Venus and going opposite Neptune. The next one is she's going to make a trine to Uranus retrograde in Gemini. I like this aspect because Venus is all about the way that we feel, the way that we receive, all the nice things, slowing down, romanticizing things, being intentional. And Uranus is about breaking free. It's about liberating yourself from the chains that are maybe holding you back. It can feel a little bit chaotic. It can be a little bit unpredictable. And Gemini is mental. It's the way you communicate. It's the way you speak, the words you use. And I think that that's with this trine here, is saying what you really mean around this time, and don't be scared to say it. Yeah? I think you'll get a lot more benefits, and you might even feel little bits of a breakthrough in your relationships. And that's not just love relationships, but business relationships and all these, from saying what you really mean. I think the breakthroughs that you could get while Venus is trining Uranus and Gemini is going to be the things. And I think while Uranus is retrograde as well, it's more about looking at the way that you normally do things, or the way that you normally. So maybe in the past you've been more people pleasing, then this time you might be like, well, do you know what? I'm going to do things a little bit different. I'm going to start putting me first here. And I'm going to assert my boundaries by telling people that that's the way it's going to be. And that might be really good for you and help you get more breakthroughs moving forward. I think as well with Uranus and it being retrograde, you might find yourself looking back at the way that you've done things, and you've maybe been like, oh, well, I done it that way because a teacher told me that, or I done it that way because I seen it on a YouTube video, or I done it, and then you're going to end up like learning to put your own stamp on it. If it's something that was maybe like, I'll just use this as an example because it's fresh in my head, but if you used to do marketing, for example, and you maybe followed a YouTube video from one of these bro marketers who was all about like hustle, 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 and now you're like, I'm done with that. I know the strategy, and now I'm going to inject me. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to make it more intentional. These sort of things. And yeah, it might be against what people normally suggest, but for you, it's going to really work well during this time. And again, could lead to that breakthrough while Uranus is in Gemini. And the next one, which happens on the same day, is Venus in Libra is going to trine Pluto in Aquarius. What I will say about this transit is Pluto is retrograde just now, but when this transit happens, he will go direct in Aquarius. So he's now moving forward. It's no longer about looking back at maybe your power and where you've maybe given away your power. It's more looking forward, like how do we assert what we've learned while Pluto was retrograde. Now he's direct. How can we use our power to rebuild things? How can we use our power to, and think about it on the wider stage, because as much as I like to say that Pluto is like your transformation, and that's what it is your transformation, but it moves so slow. It has such an effect on generations, not just yourself. So think about it in this generation that we're living in. What part do you play in this generation? What part do you play in your collective? These sort of things, and how can you use your power in these places as well. The last transit that I want to talk about is Venus and Libra making a square to Jupiter in Cancer, and this will happen on November the 2nd. Venus and Jupiter are known as the benefics, yeah? Jupiter being the greater benefic, Venus just being the lesser benefic. You've got the two benefics, they're not seeing eye to eye, there's that tension. That's what a square is, there's tension between the two. So what is Venus? She's all about love, beauty, relationships, connection, again, slowing down, being intentional. Jupiter likes to touch everything and expand that. So when it's squaring Venus, I think it's more about overindulgence, overspending, these sort of things. So just watch out for that. Maybe being like over comfortable and that sort of a thing, maybe in your relationships, or maybe spending all your time with a relationship and not having time for yourself, that sort of a thing. I get that vibe from this. These sort of things could actually block that expansion that Jupiter can bring, that good fortune and goodwill and all that stuff that Jupiter can bring, because if you're overdoing it and overindulging, then it's not going to have the same effect as if you're doing things in moderation. Yeah, it's like when you go on a diet, for example, you can go on that diet and restrict everything and feel crap and end up relapsing and overindulging, yeah? Whereas you've got that moderation, things will start to move. But then if you overeat, then you're just going back the way, and it's going, yeah. You're not going to get anywhere. So I think that that's one thing to watch out for, is overindulgence, overspending, being over comfortable. I think as well with Jupiter in Cancer, this could be stuff around the home, not just in your relationships as well here. It could be your home environment. Are you spending too much time in home or in that sort of a nurturing environment where you're not getting out and mingling or that sort of stuff? Or maybe you're just like romanticizing the home too much and yeah, missing the beauty that's outside. that could be a thing here as well with Jupiter and Cancer, because Cancer loves, she's the natural homebody. I think it's all about, just remember, Libra's about balance. When it comes to Jupiter, who wants to expand and do all the things and make it feel really good, like that's good, but make sure it's balanced with everything. And I think if you balance with Libra and Mars, the action and the receiving, I think you'll really get a lot of benefits from this transit. Even in the not as great aspects like squares and stuff like that, I think they're not as bad as something like Mars square Pluto. So that's something that you can take away from this, is that it's okay to enjoy the finer things in life, but just make sure we've got balance. And that is the Libra in a nutshell. Is at the end of the day, she wants peace, harmony, balance. Yeah? It's what Libra wants. I say she is actually a masculine sign. Now that we've dived a little bit deeper into this transit, I want to break it down for your sign so that you get something to walk away with. Now, I do use whole signs when I'm doing these predictions. So just remember, if you're using Placidus, what house I say your sign might be in could be totally different because it might fall in different areas. So just keep that in mind as we move through this. If you want, you can watch for your sun, your moon, and your rising. However, these are for your rising sign, but your sun and your moon might give you a little bit more information as well. So keep that in mind as you're watching, if you want to watch for all three, or if you don't, it's totally up to you. Aries, sun, moon, and rising. Venus is going to be moving through your 7th house of relationships, partnerships. That could be love, romance, business, any kind of relationship really. Could be friends, just one-to-one relationships. Now, when Venus moves through there, that's bringing this effortless, this sort of a nice, warm, cozy vibe to your relationships. And I think one thing for you to really get the benefit of this transit is to lean into that. Yeah, don't always have to do it yourself, Aries. You have got support from other people in your life, and like I said, this isn't always just love. But I think with Aries, you can be very guilty of trying to do everything on your own. And with this transit, it's showing you that when you look at the other people in your life and reach out for help, and that sort of stuff's going to really help during this time. I think there's a time for doing things yourself, and there's a time for when you can reach out and get the support of others. And I think that's what this transit is really, really pushing for you. And it might be not just in the sense of looking out for support or looking out for help. It might be in that you're just in a relationship where you're maybe doing you, but you're not taking the other person's view into consideration. That sort of a thing. That could become a thing during this, especially with some of the things going on with Venus. If you notice that happening, then that's Venus telling you, look, you need to start considering other people, other relationships in your life when you're doing things as well. And it's about finding that balance during this transit between wanting to do things yourself and wanting to do things with other people, and making sure that other people are okay and not just you, Aries. So I would say that that's a good thing for you during this time. And Aries, that is your Venus and Libra reading. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. For you, Venus is moving through your 6th house of daily work and routines. This transit for you is all about starting to romanticize those daily routines, to make them feel good, to make them feel like they're special and they're all cozy, and which I think for you is definitely enjoying the essential pleasures here. I know that Taurus likes it predictable. They like things they're not too keen on change. If you are just plowing on all the time and sticking to that, and you're not getting the systems in place that can really support you, then you're leaving things on the table. Yeah, because there's systems and support there that can help you, especially nowadays, the amount of technology, AI, and all that stuff that could help you with some tasks, even if that means maybe employing outside of like another person or something to get leverage for your business. But there's other people there to help you, and there's systems that you can put in place to help you with your daily working routine, so you're not overcommitting, so that you're not overdoing, so that you're not getting stuck in the details of things. But I think with this one, it's all about starting to romanticize those daily working routines. And I think that if you start to romanticize them and make them feel good, and not just like, oh, this is just what we do because this is what we always do, and actually start to feel it, get all the senses involved. Just remember, you don't always have to reinvent the wheel, Taurus. With whatever you're working on, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Take what you've got, refine, get the systems that smooth it out for you. Yeah, you don't have to create something new. You don't need new strategies. You don't need all these things. Just start to think about, like, how can I make this better? How can I make it smoother? How can I make it more efficient? And I think that that's what Venus is going to be asking for you during this time. Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising for you. Venus is moving through your 5th house of pleasure, fun, joy, self-expression, your kids. And with this, if you are getting stuck in your head when it comes to creating things, and if you're getting stuck in your head, going over analyzing everything and getting loads of ideas and taking action and none, then this transit is really about starting to refine that creative process. It's starting to think about how you're putting yourself out there, thinking about being more authentic in your creativity and your content, but also in your relationships as well, because the 5th house is romance and your kids come in there, so you start to romanticize these relationships as well. This could look like a new relationship if you're single. If you're in a relationship, you just might be having more date nights, going out and being sociable. Venus is all about that as well. So I think for you, Gemini, this is really about not getting stuck in your head and getting the idea started and finished and not spreading everything too thick. It's about really slowing down that process, that creative process, or slowing down and romanticizing the beginning of that relationship or the romance, or slowing down and being more intentional with your kids for you during this time. I think that is going to really be, and I think one thing here is we talk about Libra. She needs balance. It's all about balance with Libra. When you start to slow down, become a little bit more intentional with your creative process and your relationships, with your time with your kids, when you start to slow down and become more intentional, it does bring balance back to back to the different areas in your life as well. So I would definitely say that for you, it's about slowing down and enjoying the process, Gemini, not trying to get 100 different ideas started and 100 ideas finished. Slowing down, enjoy. And I think when you do that, when you start to enjoy things and you're not just doing it because you have to do it, you don't get bored as easily either, Gemini, which is going to be another thing for you. Like, the biggest thing for you is if you're focused on something for too long or you start to get bored, that's game over for Gemini. So I think when you start to slow down, romanticize, really enjoy each and every moment, then that is going to be the best advice for you going forward during this time while Venus is in Libra. Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. For you, Venus is moving into your 4th house, which is all about your private life, your security, your home, your physical home even. And I think for you to really get the best is to start to romanticize that home. Maybe even think, if you've maybe been thinking, oh, it's time to do my autumn reset or your fall reset, then this is a good time to do it. Start to get all the wee autumn stuff out for like the pictures, the scents, and all that stuff. Again, Venus is all about that sensual pleasures and stuff like that. So getting all that stuff around the home, getting the cozy blankets out and doing that sort of stuff, Cancer, is going to be really, really good for you around this time. One of the things that Venus needs when she's in this place is to feel safe. She needs to feel secure. And I think that's where, if there's some stuff behind the scenes or you need a stronger foundation, then Venus might start to feel a little bit more unsafe. And it's about, like, how do we protect and not be coming from survival all the time? Yeah. How do we stop having to do things based on survival? Or if you've got a business, this is like, are we just putting out content every single day because some guru on the internet told us that this is how we'll make money? Then you're just doing it out of survival at that point. You're not doing it out of enjoyment and out of that feeling of wanting to do it and putting something out that lights you up. So what is stopping you coming from joy? Like, where are you feeling unsafe, like at your foundation level? Yeah, this is about making sure you've got that strong foundation level so that you feel safe being seen, so that you feel safe when you're outside of that home environment as well. I think for you as well, this could be a good time for you to have friends over and or family over, and really start to just enjoy being at home. Romanticize it even. Start baking, doing all the things that get all the senses going so that you can enjoy that being at home during this time. For you, it's just be the natural home buddy, Cancer. But you are the natural home buddy, but this is really, really leaning into that, making sure that you've got balance at home. And if that has looked like over the last wee while that you've been working, then this is a time like, right, I need to step back here. I need to take more time at home. If you've got a job, that might not be as easy, but maybe it's time that we look at maybe some annual leave or whatever it is for you to do at your place around this time, so you can really get the time to be at home, getting your feels, romanticize everything, get the renovations done so things are nice and comfy, and do that inner work to make sure that you're building from that strong foundation within and you're not coming from survival mode. Leo, sun, moon, and rising for you. We are coming into your third house of communication, how you speak, how you market, your message, your local community, your siblings, your extended family, your close circle, really. And I think with Venus moving in there, it's about going out in the local community. It's about being a little bit more visible there so that you can really, like, but it's not being visible as in being seen and stuff like that. It's more like just out to enjoy that social time and that connection with people locally. I think that that's going to be something that could be really, really good for you during this time. I think for other things, this is going to give you that charming vibe to your communication as well. So it's a good time, like if you're like out talking about your products or talking about your business or trying to sell something, your words are magic at this moment. So use that energy to do the things that you want people to say yes to, because they will become, your words are going to become a little bit more magnetic over this time. Make sure that you're not just saying what everybody expects you to say, Leo, because you're the main character here. You need to make sure that you're claiming that space, being in the spotlight. You're ruled by the sun. Make sure you're in that spotlight and make sure that you are speaking your truth. You're not just saying what everybody wants to say so that they will validate you. You're saying what needs to be said. You're not diluting your message, whether that be in business, whether that be with anything. When it comes to your communication, your talking and stuff like that, then this is a time for you to really say what you need to say. With that Libra energy, you'll get that charming way of saying it as well. So it'll not feel as harsh around this time, which I think is good. But I think just be careful of the, like, trying to people please around this time to get validation or to do all that stuff. You want to make sure that you're saying what needs to be said around this time. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. For you, Taurus is going to be moving into your second house, which is all about the way you earn money, your financial security, stability, comfort, your material possessions, it's like your self-worth, like kind of on a material level. Are you putting your material possessions are what give you your self-worth, or are you worthy of yourself, like without all your stuff? I know what I'm trying to say. But that's going to be something for you around this time. I think when Venus is there, is you're going to maybe start to see the things that are maybe making you feel less worthy. And I don't think it's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be in a bad way. I think you're going to see the things that you maybe put too much emphasis on in the material world so that you can cultivate a stronger self-worth, self-esteem within, without needing the other stuff around about you. This could be like looking at your self-care routines. It could be getting more and romanticizing those self-care routines and really getting to in your feels for yourself to build that stronger self-worth. Now, it does come into how we earn money as well, this house. And I think this is around this time is to make sure you're charging appropriately. If you have a business, are you charging what you're worth? Because if you're not charging what you're worth, then that's going to be one of the reasons why you're not going to feel worthy as well. If you feel like $1 million, then charge $1 million. Virgo, you can be very, very guilty of that, of saying, oh, they need this help and that's all that they need. I'll just do what they need for that. And you're the one that's not feeling valued at that point because they're not paying you appropriately or whatever. So make sure that you are charging appropriately during this time that reflects your worth as well, not just giving away your time and fixing everything because you can. I think for you as well, Virgo, around this time, it's about getting that strong sense of self-worth. Yeah? Working on that, romanticizing the self-care and all that stuff, making yourself feel like that $1 million without all the other stuff. Yeah? Without all the flashy stuff that the second house can be known for, the money and all that stuff. I think it's really about building that strong sense of self-worth, self-care, all that sort of stuff. So you feel $1 million. Libra, for you, we are coming through your rising sign. Venus is moving through your first house, and that is all about you, your physical body, your personality, the way you show up, your first impression. And I think with Venus moving through here, you might start to feel a little bit more magnetic. You might feel a little bit more attractive, or if you're working on your self-care as well, then you may start to feel a little bit more worthy and all that stuff as Venus moves through there. I think this is a good time for you if you've been thinking of maybe changing your hairstyle, doing physical sort of stuff like changing your appearance or changing your style with your clothes. This is a good time for you, and you might find yourself naturally wanting to do that anyway. I think with this, it's about, as well, you need to remember that Libra is all about other people. So being sociable around this time is a good time to be sociable. You don't want to be putting yourself in a cupboard and locking yourself away so that nobody can speak to you, because Libra is all about that connection with other people and all about socializing and being with other people. Are you making opportunities to connect with other people? And it's not about, oh, I have to act a certain way because of a certain person. It's about showing up as the true version of Libra, no matter who's in front of you. Yeah, that's where you're going to start to become more magnetic and attract better people into your life. So it's about really refining what is that person that shows up during this time? Who is the person that doesn't mold themselves and doesn't have to people please and doesn't have to do all that other stuff? Okay, it's really about getting strong with that during this time while Venus is moving through your sign, Libra. Scorpio, Sun, Moon and Rising for you, Venus is moving through your 12th house. And I like when Venus is in the 12th house, I think it kind of feels like this cocoon phase. Yeah, it's like where you sort of have a step back and you sort of being more on your own, romanticizing being on your own, reading your book, getting the self-care, get the blankets, do the journaling, do the shadow work, maybe even like partake in some spiritual practices, meditation and that sort of a thing around this time. I think that they kind of an exercises are really going to be good for you. The 12th house is all about that subconscious, the hidden stuff, the deep down stuff that is at your core that you maybe don't notice even yourself, and you might not even feel this transit. But I think if it's activating and if you do feel it, being alone, doing the journaling, doing all the stuff to get your head clear and make sure that that's doing all that stuff around this time is going to be good for you. But don't just do it, because Venus gives you that benefit when you start to really feel it and start to romanticize it and get in your feels with it all. Get the blanket while you do your shadow work and all that stuff. Is about really saving and slowing down and being intentional with that process while Venus is moving through Libra. And again, this could be around your self-worth, around your self-care, around the way you look. These things could be cropping up, but not as a way to like that. It's about taking that and learning so that you don't self-sabotage at the end of the day, where you maybe, is that how you naturally would self-sabotage, is to start to mold yourself and to start to do that stuff? Then Venus and Libra could show you like, you need to stop molding to fit everybody else. You might see these things cropping up as a way to like say, okay, it's time to release this during this time. I think for you, Scorpio, with Venus anyway, this is a time for you to be in your own and be in your feels and use this as a prep phase, that cocoon phase, get you ready for that comeback. And I think one of the things to think about is the work that you're doing now is something that the people that your audience or the people in your life, they might start to admire. You might start to inspire with the work that you're doing just now. So focus on that. Like it's okay to be in that cocoon phase. I've been in that cocoon phase for the last Venus transit. So I know, like for me, the best time was romanticizing the self-care, taking that time, being alone, solitude, that sort of a thing. Spiritual practices as well. Getting creative, but more for like a sort of getting creative is more like as a way of self-care. I think that's really, really helpful around this time as well. Sagittarius, Sun, Moon and Rising for your Venus is bringing all that lovely, warm, fuzzy feelings to your friends, your groups, the things you stand for, your goals, your aspirations. And this is about, are you slowing down and being intentional enough to actually reach your goals? Yeah. Or have you completely went off track? Yeah. You went in a totally different direction because you were going too fast or whatever it was, Sagittarius. Well, this is your time to like slow down and get really, really clear on that path that you are going in life. And yeah, it might not be 100%. You might not know the exact direction or what you're going to do or how you're going to get there. But at least saying, right, this is what the goal is. This is what I desire around this time is going to be really, really helpful for you. I think for you being around your friends more around this time, you could start to get more abundance for your friends, more charming around your friends and stuff like that around this time. But I really think for you, like, as well, when it comes to your online presence, because the 11th houses are like the internet, your content, your networks and stuff like that. I think during this time you will feel a little bit more magnetic, but that's only if you're showing up balanced and showing up, saying what needs to be said. You're not molding your words, you're speaking the truth. And I do believe that Sagittarius would do that because they've not really got time for that stuff. But I think If there was any time for you to do it, Sagittarius, I think this would be the time you would do it, having Libra rule this area of your life. I think as well around this time, it could be like romanticizing what your life looks like and where you're going and romanticizing that goal, but showing that little bit of behind the scenes stuff as well of you romanticizing it. And I think that that'll make you even more magnetic when it comes to your content, your networks, and all that sort of stuff as well. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising for you. Venus is moving through your 10th house of career, your visibility, and leadership. And I think you're going to get that Venus feeling from being more visible. Yeah. I think what you need to remember though is that if you are in that position, like you create content, or you're a coach that creates content, or somebody who creates content, or you're just visible in your career, then you've already proven that you're capable to be in that position. A lot of people, especially I'm speaking from a content point of view here, but you see a lot of people and they heavily rely on their educational content to try and prove that they are the authority in that space. For you, Capricorn, it's about saying, right, I've proven that I'm capable of doing what I'm doing here. Now I need to be known for it. Yeah, people need to start to fall in love with me. That means that you have to start showing up without hiding behind that education as your safe space. Make your story relatable at this time, because it's going to be the best thing for you. You've proven that you're capable of all. You're there, yeah, whether that be in a job, whether that be in whatever. Now it's time to start to receive, yeah, and you do that by, like, when it comes to receive visibility, putting yourself out there, being visible, and letting the good things come to you. Yeah, you've already done all the work. And this is your chance to receive now. I think for you to gain more authority and gain more expertise in your public recognition, your career, your visibility, for you to do that, it's going to come through relatability. And if you keep on focusing on being the expert, being the authority, being this person that knows all, then to build your self-worth from that, then I think that you could really, really miss out from actually letting people in and telling your story and being more relatable around this time, Capricorn. Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising for you, we're moving into your 9th house, which is all about that bigger vision, the deeper sort of a learning, the more wisdom, yeah? Your beliefs, your perspective, your outlook on life. And I think during this time, with Venus moving through here, is about giving that little bit of your life an upgrade. That might mean that you want to spend more time learning, but not just learning, really romanticizing it, really feel the process of learning. That could be going and traveling and going somewhere further afield to be at a retreat or something, so you could really get immersed in that culture or get immersed in all the good feelings and stuff like that. If it's a retreat, then, but you really want to get immersed and make learning feel physical around this time. I think that will help you really, really cultivate your message, because I think this time as well with the 9th house, it is also another publishing house. So this is another thing to make sure that you're saying the things that need to be seen and sharing your wisdom. If you're not on a YouTube or podcast or any of these things, then this is a good time for you to actually think about starting these things and starting to put content out, because that sort of your wisdom is that magnetic part of you right now. And you've got that message to share. Really look at opening the horizons and let yourself receive this wisdom. Yeah, let your wisdom grow naturally around this time. Slow down and really enjoy the process of learning and deepening your knowledge. It's not about learning loads of different things here. It's not about getting stuck in the details, Aquarius. It's not about digging deep and becoming the analyst. It's about letting that stuff come to you through doing the things and experiencing things and all that stuff. Not so much like getting stuck in the woods with doing, but more like taking yourself on that trip, taking yourself on that retreat, going back to university and really enjoying the feeling of learning again, and being open to hear other people. Like, go and be sociable around this time, Aquarius, and hear what other people have got to say and really take that. This is your chance to receive. So you can, like, it's very, very good to say, oh, I want to be known for this, or I want to be the expert in this. But that comes from building your knowledge from other people's perspectives as well. And I think that that's where Venus really, really wants you to get from at this time. She wants you to go and experience things and really enjoy the process, so you can, and start to document your life around this time, especially when Venus is going to move into your 10th house next. You want to make sure that you're starting to become visible around this time with your message and deepening and sharing your wisdom, sharing your knowledge, that positions you as that expert. That's going to be good, because it's going to give you that sort of a progression into your 10th house as well, but it's really about romanticizing, slowing down and being more intentional about what you are putting in here that is creating the beliefs, the perspectives, and all of that stuff. Pisces, sun, moon, and rising for you, we are moving into your 8th house, which is the hidden house, and is all the stuff where you share things with other people, your intimacy, your money. There could be power dynamics. Your traumas and your fears are also kept in this space as well. And I think that this is, when the Libra is involved here, you've got to think like, are you just saying things so that you don't feel that rejection from another person? Yeah. Are you just doing things so you don't get a no? Yeah. Where are you molding yourself here, Pisces, to get the answer that you want? Yeah. For that, yes. I think around this time, starting to think about that, that might mean you have to explore a little bit more of the shadow of Pisces, but that's okay. Yeah. Because it's going to make you stronger and make sure that you are coming there and being strong enough to stand and say, no. Like, if this is what I want, and if we're not going to be able to work together on this, then is no. But it's about really slowing down and feeling it out at this this moment in time. It's about slowing down and feeling it out at this moment in time. And that might mean that things do come up because you have slowed down and created space for things to come up. You need to then release and clear. If you're trying to attract brands to you and you're not maybe going after the brand you want because you're scared of rejection, then this is time for you to go and step out and start to make sure that you're speaking about the brands that you actually want to work with. Start to name drop them, start to show their products in your content, start to do all that sort of stuff around this time, because right now, just focusing on what you think you can have is not going to serve you in the long run. Yeah. Because you're always going to get what you've got. Whereas when you do something and step out of that comfort zone and get a little bit uncomfortable, going after the brand deals. I mean, it's not just brand deals. Like, if you're a coach that's got a product, then it's not just the same kind of a product that you always do because you know that's what you can have. That could mean that you have to do some work on your self-worth. It could mean that you have to rebuild and get rid of some fears. But it's about stepping out of your comfort zone here, I would say, with Venus here. But not stepping out as in a way that I have to do 100 things and create a new product and do all that stuff. So be stepping out your comfort zone with what you've got just now. It's okay to lean on other people as well. With the 8th house, other people, it's sharing resources with other people. Yeah, that's what makes me mention brand deals around the 8th house, because that's a deep partnership with a brand where you are sharing finances. But also with this power dynamics with your partner, that sort of a thing. Are you just doing what they want because, well, you know you can have that? Whereas instead of you're not getting all your needs met, then that is a time that you need to look, because it's out of balance there. I think with Libra, you always need to think of, is things balanced here? Am I getting what I'm worth from this brand deal? Or am I getting what I'm worth from a partner? Or is it me that's doing all the molding and all that stuff? Look for, if you're feeling resentment around this time, that could be a good sign or an indicator of what Venus is wanting you to see. But again, around this time, it's about slowing down and creating that space to allow yourself to see what needs to get your attention. If you're going all the time, then you can miss that, Pisces. So it's about slowing down and creating space to let things come up. That's going to be the good thing for you, especially when it is in that 8th house where it is that the fears are hidden here. And if there's fears that you need to surface to you to then release them, it comes from slowing down and creating that space. So this is your chance, Pisces, to be honest, to be real about what you actually want in that relationship, in that business, and your content with a brand, whoever it is.